This is page 25 of the 26-page installation manual, and this is titled Scheduled Maintenance Intervals and Inspections. And you can see, if you follow the annually column down, number 3 says clean and inspect unit for damage, corrosion, looseness, and proper operation. Lubricate worm and worm gear with Aeroshell 22. Do not use spray lubricants. I can certainly see why they say don't use spray lubricants. After doing this job, it'd get all over the inside and it would just be a mess, and it would draw dirt and probably cause the unit to stop working. But anyway, that's what I'm doing in this video, is cleaning and inspecting and lubricating the worm and the worm gear. When you take the speed brake out of the wing, you'll remove 14 fasteners, 7 on each side of this flange for each one. And you don't need to remove anything else fastener wise, because down here in the bottom there is this saddle that the bottom of it fits into, and you don't need to remove the fasteners from the bottom side. When you put it in, be sure and fasten the connector down, get the connector connected really well, and then fasten it down to the structure like this. There's a little clip that goes over that stringer, and then the cable tie goes through it. Your airplane will probably have that too. And then you just drop this in the hole and make the drain tube, that drain tube, line up with that hole in the bottom of the wing, and then put the 14 fasteners in, and you're done. After you remove the speed brakes from the airplane, it's really important to get a very good job of cleaning and lubricating. You can get to the end of the worm drive by taking this top plate off, but that doesn't give you very good access. So what I did and what I recommend is to take this entire cover off, which wraps all the way around both sides, and takes 9, 12 screws, 13 screws to get it off, and that gives you access to the gear and the worm, and plenty of room to clean things up. Be really careful when removing these screws. They would strip out pretty easily, so I would use a brand new number 1 Phillips screwdriver tip. If I were you, that's what I did. I didn't have any problems with it. One of these screws right here, if you zoom in on this, I don't know if you can see that, warranty void if seal broken. So this, you don't want to take this cover off if you're within 2 years of when they were new or overhauled, because that'll void the warranty if you mess up this sticker and one of the screws is under this sticker. Mine are quite a bit older than that. Mine are at least 4 years old. And so I just scraped part of the sticker away like I did on this other one to get to that screw and took it apart. As to what you're looking at here, it's a pretty simple device. There's a couple micro switches over here running on cams. You can see those down in there, and those are what controls the motor and the clutch. And so this wire right here, the orange wire, goes to an electric clutch that's right in there, that's attached to the gear that's run by the worm. And then there's just a 2-conductor electric motor that's controlled by those micro switches. And these vanes for the speed brake are movable, because that clutch, if it's not energized, then the clutch is freewheeling. So you can move these around, doesn't hurt anything. You can push them all the way up, clamp them with that clamp to get them out of your way. So don't have to worry about moving those. I just took the cover off of this one, and it's particularly dirty. You can even see all the dirt down here. Actually, it's probably grease in the bottom of the cover below below this mechanism. And when you look close here, you can see gobs of grease hanging off of the gear and some old dirty grease down in the bottom of the teeth and dirty grease on the worm drive. And so this really needs to be cleaned up and re-lubed. That's what we'll do next. You can block the speed brake open with a padded clamp so that you can gain better access to the gears to clean them. Once you get this speed brake blocked open so that you can get to these parts over here, the objective is to clean this entire gear all the way around and the worm drive that drives it. And I've done this one using acid brush. Use a mild solvent like mineral spirits, something that'll dissolve grease but be pretty mild on everything else. You can get in here and clean from the top and from the side and clean all this old grease off. You can also use an old toothbrush dipped in the solvent to clean the teeth on the gear. And then you won't be able to get to the entire gear without moving it. And so you can reach through the top hole and reach through the side and turn the worm gear, and it'll turns kind of hard, but it will turn the large gear, and you just keep turning it until the teeth that you weren't able to get to come around down to the bottom side here so that you can get to all of the teeth. And when you get all finished, it should look something like this. Still have one little spot there, it looks like. It should look something like this with a nice shiny gears, no grease anywhere. You can look down through the top hole, nice and shiny, no grease. And now you're ready to put the new grease on. When you apply the new grease, I'm using a stiff bristled old artist brush, and I dip it into the Aeroshell 22 as they recommend. Dip it into here, and then just very carefully apply the grease to the teeth and make sure there's no chunks hanging out anywhere. And when you get all done, most of the teeth, not all of them have to be coated, but most of them. And then you can see the worm drive has grease on it too, and shouldn't be an excessive amount of grease. You don't want grease flying around in there when it's running. And so this is kind of what the gear looks like when it's greased. You can see it's got grease on the teeth, but there's none hanging off of the edges or globs hanging out. And that's all lubed and ready to put back together. Once everything is nice and clean on the inside and the grease has been applied, you can put it back together, reinstall the 6 screws on this side and on the other side, and then reinstall the top plate, which is right here. And once you get all that back together, it's ready to install in the airplane. When you're reassembling, if you took all the screws out and threw them in a cup like I did, you're going to need to figure out which ones are the ones for the top plate and which ones are used for fastening this cover on. There should be 9 of these that are short. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's 4 on the other side. And there should be 4 long ones that go in the top of it, where this extra piece is thick and the screw has to go through more stack up. So it should have 4 long ones for the cover. You should have 9 that are not stainless steel, that are carbon steel. And if you can't tell by looking at them, I mean, you probably can because the heads are really shiny on the stainless ones, But if you can't tell, just use a magnet, and these will stick to the magnet really well, and the ones for the top cover will not. So we'll put it back together.